Okay, so for today, we have a tax return that we're going to do, and it's taxpayer. His name is Gary Maddox. He owns his own plumbing business. He received a 1099 miscellaneous from a plumbing company that he's associated with. So, in other words, they call him, and he's like on demand. They call him to go to a plumbing job, and then he goes there and performs the service. His social security number is 589448888, and his date of birth is 12/1/1988. He lives on Edward Street in Westminster, California. He has a home phone and a cell phone. He has a son that lives with him. His name is Sam, and he was born in 2014, has a social security number, and there are no other people living in his home. He received a 1099 and will be utilizing a Schedule C with the information from the 1099. He made $31,660, and we will be adding that to the Schedule C. He had some expenses, advertising, contract labor, and he paid for supplies. And in this return and in this write-up, there is an error, which I wanted to put in there because I wanted you to see if you could find the error. So if you see it, let me know. But there is one particular error in the Schedule C. His son Sam goes to Pronto Daycare on Main Street, and Gary paid $3,000 in 2018. So if he has a balance due, he would like option 4 on the form 8979, and if he gets a refund, he wishes to utilize option 1. Okay, and by all means, don't forget to do the California tax return. So he received a 1099 miscellaneous. It was from Pronto Plumbing Company, which is on 1200 Edward Street in Westminster. There's their telephone number, EIN number, social security number of Gary, and he received $31,660, which is in box 7, okay, non-employee compensation for his plumbing work. There were no taxes withheld whatsoever. Pronto Daycare gave him a piece of paper with their name, address, their city, state, zip code, their EIN number, and he paid Pronto Daycare $3,000 in 2018. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do the tax return and take you back to monitor 1. And here we go. So we're going to close on the Jacksons, and we're going to we'll start a new tax return. And this is going to be Gary. And let's see here. So his date of birth is 12/1/1988. Okay. If you're not sure about what they're asking you for, as you can see, I'm now in the date of death block. Down at the bottom, it gives you a description of what they're looking for. Okay. So everywhere that you are, anywhere that you are, it will ask you down at the bottom exactly what the software is looking for. So now they're looking for the taxpayer first name, which is Gary. Okay, and if he has a middle initial, which wasn't given in this scenario, you would put that over here, and then his last name. And always use capital letters. The software is set for just doing capital letters as opposed to using capital and lowercase letters. It makes it much neater and cleaner. Okay, so we enter, and if he's a senior or a junior, it would go there. His occupation, he's a plumber. And by the way, the reason that the IRS asks for occupation is because in case there are any expenses shown on the tax return, it has to relate to the occupation, okay? So if he's a plumber, but he has expenses of a teacher, let's say, that would be cause for possible audit, okay? He's not a dependent of anybody else. He's not blind, nor is he disabled. I believe he has a home phone number of 949-876-7777. And that is also his work number because he works from home. And his cell phone number is 714-984-6677. Okay. We were not given an email address, but always ask for their email. Also, if you are interested in texting them, get their permission and then get the phone number and the carrier, and then you'll be able to text them. I'll be talking about texting tomorrow, and but make sure the most important thing is that you get their permission for you to text them. Okay. The next thing we have is preferred contact. Okay. How do they want to be contacted? Do they want to be contacted by email, text, home phone, or cell? And Gary would like to be contacted by cell phone. Okay. Preferred language. We come into contact with a lot of folks who speak both English and Spanish. So if that's the situation in your office or wherever, ask them what language would they prefer to speak. Okay. And also, the taxpayer, in this case, Gary is a male, so we put that in there. And IP PIN, they might have received a letter from the IRS because something about their ID, with maybe frauds or something situation, they received a letter from the IRS and they got a PIN number. Ask them if they received such a letter, identity theft, things like that. And if they did get a letter, get the PIN number from that letter and put it there. Okay. In the case, normally I ask all my clients for two pieces of identification. One could be a driver's license. The other one could be a social security card. Those are probably the two best items to ask because social security numbers, a lot of folks forget what their kid's social security number is or whatever. Another good thing is when they come to see me for an appointment, I usually ask them to bring their tax return from last year. It makes it much easier. And that way you can kind of gauge whether this year is about the same as last year or is it different and so forth. And also you can double check the social security numbers on that particular tax return as well. So driver's license, social security number, those are items that you would put in here. Filing status, Gary. Okay, so Gary has a child. He does not have a wife. He does not have anybody living with him. So he's either going to be single or head of household. In this situation, because Gary's son, Sam, lived with him all year, this way he is able to file as head of household, which is number 4. Okay? And as you can see, it skips the spouse information, goes right down to his address. And Gary lived at 788 Edwards Street. Edwards Street. And he doesn't live in an apartment. And the zip code is 92683. And as you can see, automatically, Westminster pops up, California, because I had done this previously. And it's now, you only have to put the zip code and all the information pops up. Okay. If he were on a ship or overseas somewhere, you would have to mark this box, the APO, DPO, or FPO. Otherwise, since he is living here in California and he is a citizen of the United States. Okay. Bank name, if he wants to have it deposited to his checking or savings account, you would put that information right there. However, he is asking for a check to home if he has a refund, and if he doesn't have a refund, bank name is irrelevant because you never want to give the IRS your bank account number, right? Although some people do. On April 15th, you'll see a lot of people asking, telling the ones that have a balance due will offer their checking account to the checking account number to the IRS, and some people are okay with it. I personally do not like to give the IRS my checking or savings account number. All right. For those that are going to do a lot of tax returns, you might have a referral program, and that's available. You might want to give like $10, $20 as a referral fee if some of your clients bring on other clients. The Protection Plus service, I'm going to be talking about that in January. It's a audit type assistance program that you can offer your clients. You, as the preparer, will make some additional money on that as there is a fee with Protection Plus. And I'll be talking more about that in January. He was offered, which is an unrealistic situation, but he was offered health care coverage by his plumbing, the guy who gave him all the jobs, and which is unrealistic. But for this particular scenario, that's what we're doing. All right. So he had a child, and his child's name is Sam Maddox. And his birth date is 7/28/2014. So he's 4 years old, and his social security number is 626-456789. Now, a thing about social security numbers, generally it kind of tends to relate you to a certain area of the United States. You'll find that people here in California tend to have 500 series. Kids tend to have 600 series. People from the East Coast either start with 0 or 1. And that's kind of, you can tell how old their social security number is and where they're from. Okay, it's not always true, but generally that's the rule of thumb. So on Sam, he is a son. He lived with his father all year. And as you can see, these codes popped up that he's eligible for the earned income credit and the child tax credit. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a Schedule C. So we're going to add the form. And by the way, I'm doing this tax return without an interview. Okay. So just that you know. So I'm looking for a Schedule C. Now there's two ways of going. You can go down the list like I just did, or you can go ahead and just put C over here, and it takes you right to the schedule. And you double click on that, and it pops up. So Gary his principal business or profession is that he was a plumber. Okay? And so we need to look up what the business code is for a plumber. So we go down here to choices, and we go down and see if we can find what could be close to his business code. So let's see. He is, it looks like this one right here. Plumber, heating, air conditioning, and contractor. Okay? So I hope you saw that. Again, I'll go back. And oops. Whoops. There we go. Plumbing, heating, and air conditioning. 238220. He doesn't have a business name. It's just Gary Maddox. He doesn't have an employer ID. He just uses his social security number. He's in the United States. He doesn't have his a business address as such. It's just his home. Okay. And so what we're going to do, he is from California, and he's from Westminster. Okay. He uses the cash method of accounting, and generally, 90% plus people in the United States probably use this accounting method. There's cash, there's accrual, and then there is hybrid accounting method. Okay, very few people. There are some businesses that would use the hybrid, but most people use cash. Did he materially participate? Yes, he did. Okay, and if you started or acquired this business during 2018, check here. No, he's been in business since 2015. Did you make any payments in 2018 that require you to file the Form 1099? Okay, he answered no. Okay, so we're going to leave that at that. We're going to leave that right now for the with marking this no. However, if you go when we go further, you'll see that this is actually an error. Okay, and I'll show you why. If yes, did you or will you file all required forms 1099? This is new, the qualified business income indicator. Okay, so we go to this box, and none of you are familiar with this, as was I. So let's look at the choices. So because of this new QBI law that was enacted, you have three codes. Is he a qualified trade or business? Is he a specified service, trade, or business? Or is he not eligible for the deduction? Okay, I'm going to pick Q, as I think that is the answer. However, he could be a specified service, trade, or business, but for now, let's go with qualified trade or business. Okay, click here if claiming an exemption from self-employment tax. Nope, he has to pay self-employment tax. Click here to allocate expenses on minister worksheet. No, he's definitely not a minister. Was this activity disposed during the year? The answer is no. Prior year unallowed loss, he had none. Single person, disregarded. LLC, nope, we don't have to do that. Okay, so that we got that. And let's see, his gross receipts were $31,660. Okay, and he didn't have allowances or returns. He's not a statutory. A good example of a statutory employee is probably an insurance agent. They'll get a W-2, but they also have expenses. Okay. Income from 1099 miscellaneous. Actually, that 31,666 should have gone there. Whoops. Let's restart. Let's go with this. This is 0. And let's put the 31. We actually should put that here. All right. All right. So he had expenses. The following expenses. He had advertising, $400. He had contract labor of $3,900, and he had supplies of $7,950. Now, for those out there that are real sharp and know the tax law, you know that this is wrong right here. Contract labor, you know that you have to issue a 1099 to all your contract labor. Okay. So for this particular return, however, we're going to say that, first of all, that he did not supply any 1099 miscellaneous, and that's why I didn't mark this here over here. I marked this as no because he did not do it in this scenario. Okay, but generally, technically, or IRS-wise, tax-wise, he should have issued 1099s to his contract labor. Unless, of course, he had 39 contract labor people and only giving them $100 each. Okay? Then he, of course, is not subject to issuing a 1099. All right, so it looks like he had total expenses before business. And in the interest of time and simplicity, I did not do a cost of goods sold in case he had an inventory of plumbing supplies or whatever. Did not do cost of labor or anything like that, nor did I do any vehicle information, although he did use his truck to go to the various places to do his plumbing work. Okay, but for this particular tax return, we're not doing that. Okay. All right. So let's see. It says here unmanned. Let's see. I know I put plumber in there. I think. Yeah, I did. Okay. So refresh. There we go. All right. Now it's turned to plumber. Okay. So the next thing. So we did that. He had daycare. So we're going to go up here, add a form, and for those people that don't know the form number is 2441, and it's right there, or you could have put childcare or whatever. So that's what we're going to do next. So the daycare provider is called Pronto Daycare. And if they the daycare provider has a telephone number, we would put it there. They are on Main Street, and this is their EIN number, and he paid them $3,000. Okay? So we need to provide information for the qualifying person, and of course that was his son, Sam Maddox, his social security number, and he paid a total of $3,000. Okay? So here we go. It looks like his earned income was $18,038, so that went there. Okay, and it looks like the tax liability limit was $4. Credit for the child and dependent care expenses is $4. Okay, didn't really help him a lot. Okay, he did not receive any dependent care benefits, but usually dependent care benefits are shown on a W-2. Okay. Okay, and so that's that. And so I think we are done. We'll refresh it. And let's look at the schedules. We've talked about the different schedules that are available this year. So this one looks like it's got 3 of them. This is the Schedule 1, which shows his business income and adjustments to income. And it also shows his half of the self-employment tax, which was $1,372. Remember, this used to be on the 1040 page 1. Okay. He doesn't have a net operating loss carry forward, so nothing's done there. He had also a Schedule 3, which was the credit for the child and dependent care expenses, which came to $4. Okay, and then he had a Schedule 4, which shows his self-employment tax right here. And that was the total of all his other taxes. He had earned income credit back here. This is his self-employment form, Schedule SE. Okay, and he had the child care, which right there, which really didn't help him a lot, only $4 worth. He had the child tax credit, and let's see here. So his additional child tax credit was $1,400. The EIC checklist. There's his qualifying child. Okay. The due diligence, prepares due diligence checklist, the form 8867. This is where you would put your name and your PTIN number over here. I don't have one, so I will leave it blank. So that will be one of my errors. And the form 8879 This is his e-file signature authorization. Again, you must have an EFIN in order to do this. And so that's there. So since he got a refund, he wants it sent to his home. Okay, so he does not want it directly deposited. So let's see here. And so we need to mark this, and he wants a check from the IRS, so it's 1. And here's a little note that I just got. You must collect your preparation fee directly from the taxpayer, and the IRS will distribute the refund directly to the taxpayer. So what they're basically saying is if you're going to electronically file and the client is going to get their check sent to their home, make sure that you get paid up front, okay? Because once it leaves your office and they decide to skip town and not pay you, you will never be able to collect from them. So, and they will get their refund. So make sure you always collect up front for any electronically filed tax return. If somebody says to you, hey, I'll pay you in next Friday when I get paid, hold the tax return until next Friday, unless obviously it's your next door neighbor or a good friend of yours. As it has happened to me where somebody said that to me and owed me like $500, never came back to see me, and I was out of the $500. So make sure you do that, okay? And then we have the due diligence for the Schedule C, okay? Gary Maddox, is he self-employed? Yes, he is. What's his profession? He's a plumber. What's the name of his business? He doesn't have a name. Does he have a federal ID number? No. He has a social security number. When did he start his business? He started it back in 2015. Okay. Does he keep records for his business income expenses? He better answer that yes. As you know, especially when you're using your car, make sure you have a log of all the mileage. What was his total gross income sales receipts for 2017? He had made $20,000. I'm just making that up. And what were his total business expenses? They were $5,000. Okay. Does he have a business license? He doesn't have a business license, but he does have a plumber's license, but he does not have a business license. Does he have a separate bank account for his business? And again, the answer is no, he does not. Okay, then we have to put the amounts again over here. He had spent $400 for advertising. He had contract labor for $3,900, and he had supplies of $7,950. Okay. Does he have an office and home? Well, not really. He's got a desk, computer, things like that. So he did not want to deduct that. The square footage, the answer is no. So square footage, office and home, he doesn't really have to state anything. But if he had one, he could put like 100 square feet of the 1,000 square feet of his home, like that, if he wanted to do an office and home. And then he must sign it, print his name, and date it. Okay, so that takes care of due diligence. What you will do at this point is always refresh, and oh, we forgot. We have to do the California return. So we're going to add a form. We're going to go to state. We're going to California, and we're going to, and I just got this message again. California state package is not yet released. State tax return can only be prepared as a pre-release. Okay. So we have the California, and we'll refresh this. And there comes the California. So this is his California tax return. And it looks like he is going to not get any kind of a refund because he had no liability because his tax table said he owed $96, but he had exemption credits of $467, so that negates the $96. So zero, he did not pay any California taxes. as we told you in the beginning, so he does not have a, uh, a tax due or a refund. Okay, but of course you want to send this in to avert any letters from the franchise tax board. Okay, so we refresh that, and at this point, what you normally would do is you would verify, and you would come up with all these errors, which I have because I have not set up the software properly yet. Once I set up all the forms, once California comes into play and so forth, which will probably be in January sometime, then I should come out clean at that point. But for now, as you can see, all these rejects. So he has a refund of $2,118 and no refund from California. Have a great evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.